Picture this: a vast grassland stretching farther than the eye can see. The wind sweeps across the Eurasian steppe. A herd of wild horses thunders across the horizon. Hundreds of powerful animals moving as one, fast, nervous, untouchable. Now imagine you're a hunter standing there 6,000 years ago. You don't have a gun, you don't have a fence, you don't even have a wheel powerful enough to chase them. And yet, somehow, over the next few thousand years, human beings would accomplish something that sounds almost impossible. They would turn one of the fastest and strongest wild animals on Earth into a partner that would carry warriors into battle, pull traders across continents, deliver messages between empires, and ultimately help build the modern world. But here's the mystery: how did humans actually do it? Because recent discoveries suggest the story we've been telling for decades may be wrong. In fact, scientists now believe the first people who domesticated horses may not be the ancestors of today's horse owners at all. And by the end of this video, you'll understand not only how humans domesticated horses, but why this single achievement changed human history forever. The story begins with a mistake, or at least what scientists now think was a mistake. For years, researchers believed they had solved the mystery of horse domestication. The answer seemed to lie in modern-day Kazakhstan. In the 1980s, archaeologists uncovered something extraordinary: an ancient settlement known as Botai. At first glance, it looked like any other prehistoric site. Then they started counting horse bones, and counting, and counting. Eventually, researchers realized something shocking. More than 90% of the animal bones at the site belonged to horses, not deer, not cattle, not sheep. Horses. Thousands upon thousands of horse remains. This wasn't normal hunting. Something unusual was happening. The evidence became even more intriguing. Scientists found signs that the people may have consumed horse milk. Some horse teeth appeared to show wear patterns that resembled damage caused by bits and bridles. And suddenly a theory emerged. Maybe these people weren't simply hunting horses. Maybe they were riding them. Maybe they had domesticated them. If true, this would make the Botai culture the inventors of horse domestication around 3500 BCE. For decades, textbooks repeated this story. Case closed, or so everyone thought. But here's where the mystery deepens. In 2018, scientists used a tool unavailable to earlier researchers: ancient DNA, and what they discovered turned the entire story upside down. When researchers extracted genetic material from Botai horse remains, they expected to find the ancestors of modern domestic horses. Instead, they found something completely different. The horses from Botai were not the ancestors of today's horses, not even close. They were more closely related to Przewalski's horses, a rare species of horse that still survives today. Suddenly, the accepted story collapsed. Think about how strange that is. Imagine discovering the inventors of the smartphone, only to learn their technology led nowhere, and every modern phone came from a completely different source. That's essentially what happened. The horses at Botai were real, the people were real, but the genetic evidence suggested that modern horses came from somewhere else. Now, scientists had a new question. If Botai didn't give us modern domestic horses, who did? To answer that question, we need to understand something important. Domestication is not a single event. Most people imagine a dramatic moment. One brave person jumps on a horse, the horse obeys. Domestication begins. Reality is much messier. Humans probably interacted with horses for centuries before true domestication occurred. First came hunting, then observation, then perhaps selective management. Maybe people learned where herds migrated. Maybe they guided them towards certain areas, and maybe they captured foals. Nobody knows exactly. But domestication was likely a gradual process rather than a sudden invention. And that process required solving a massive problem. Wild horses are difficult to control. They are powerful, they are fast, and they are prey animals. Everything in their biology tells them to flee from danger, including humans. So, how do you convince an animal built to run away from you to carry you on its back? That's the challenge ancient humans faced. And it's why horse domestication may have taken much longer than many people realize. Now, here's where another fascinating clue appears. Recent genetic studies point toward a different region entirely, not Kazakhstan, but the western Eurasian steppes near the Black and Caspian Seas. Around 4,200 years ago, a particular horse population suddenly exploded across the continent. Their genetic signature appears almost everywhere. Within a few centuries, these horses spread at remarkable speed. from Europe to Asia, across thousands of miles, and wherever they went, they largely replaced other horse populations. Why? Scientists think these horses possessed characteristics that made them especially useful to humans. Maybe they were easier to manage, maybe they were stronger, maybe they could travel longer distances. Whatever the reason, they became the horse equivalent of a technological breakthrough. And once humans discovered their advantages, there was no turning back. This is where the story becomes bigger than horses. Because horse domestication didn't just change transportation, it changed civilization itself. Imagine living in a world before horses. Travel was painfully slow. Moving goods over long distances was expensive. Communication between cities could take weeks or months. Entire regions remained isolated. Now imagine what happens when a horse enters the equation. Suddenly, distances shrink. A journey that once took days can be completed much faster. Trade expands, ideas spread, armies move farther, empires grow larger. Horse domestication was the ancient equivalent of inventing the internet, railroads, and airplanes all at once. It connected the world. And here's something many people don't realize: the horse didn't simply help existing civilizations, it created entirely new ways of life. Consider the great nomadic cultures of the Eurasian steppe. Groups like the Scythians and later the Mongols built societies around horses. Children learned to ride at an early age. Families traveled with horse herds. Warriors fought from horseback. Entire cultures became mobile. Without horse domestication, these civilizations might never have existed. But before we go further, there's an objection we need to address. You might be thinking, weren't horses mainly used for warfare? That's certainly part of the story, but it's not the whole story. In fact, focusing only on warfare misses the bigger picture. Yes, horses transformed combat. Mounted warriors could move faster than infantry. Chariots became powerful military tools. Cavalry changed battlefield tactics forever. But horses also carried merchants, farmers, travelers, messengers, explorers. The same animal that helped conquer empires also helped connect communities. And that's why horse domestication matters so much. Its impact reached nearly every corner of human life. Now, here's the part most people never think about. Horse domestication also changed the horses, not just the humans. When people selectively bred horses, they unintentionally guided evolution. Animals with desirable traits reproduced more often. Over generations, horse populations changed. Some became stronger, some became faster, some became calmer around humans. The horses we know today are very different from the wild horses that once roamed the ancient steppes. In a sense, domestication transformed two species simultaneously. Humans shaped horses, and horses shaped humans. The relationship worked both ways. Think about it. Entire trade routes emerged because horses existed. Military strategies evolved because horses existed. Settlement patterns changed because horses existed. Even political power often depended on access to horses. A society with horses could project influence farther and faster than one without them. That's an astonishing amount of impact for a single animal. And yet, the greatest lesson of this story may have nothing to do with horses. It may have everything to do with human beings, because horse domestication reveals a pattern we see throughout history. The biggest transformations often begin with relationships, not inventions, not machines, relationships. Humans learned how to cooperate with another species, and together they achieved things neither could accomplish alone. The horse gained protection, food, and global expansion. Humans gained speed, mobility, and power. Both species changed forever. And that brings us back to the original mystery: who truly domesticated the horse? The honest answer is that we still don't know every detail. The Botai people may have been early pioneers, later steppe cultures may have refined the process. Different groups may have contributed pieces of the puzzle over centuries. What scientists increasingly agree on is that horse domestication was not one moment, it was a journey, a long experiment stretching across generations. Thousands of people, thousands of horses, thousands of years, and the results reshaped the world. The next time you see a horse, remember this: you're looking at one of the most influential animals in human history, an animal that helped connect continents, build empires, expand trade, transform warfare, and accelerate civilization itself. All because somewhere on a windswept grassland thousands of years ago, humans began asking a remarkable question: what if this animal could be more than prey? What if it could become a partner? The answer changed the world, and we're still living with the consequences today. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about the animals, inventions, and discoveries that transformed human history, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because sometimes the biggest events in history begin with a single unexpected relationship, and few relationships have shaped our world more than the bond between humans and horses.